Good evening, Chicago, or good evening, America. Hello, Chicago, and what's up, West Side? This is P Ray of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self esteem. You could have been anywhere on this Sunday afternoon, and you chose to come hang out with me today at Black Excellence Hour. And as always, I appreciate the company. If you are watching live on the Black Excellence Hours Facebook page or the Intellectual Radio YouTube page, please be sure to share the live. Share the live. Today's show is about MAGA Country USA and the Chicago School Board. So we know that Jussie Smollett said that we were MAGA country, and everybody thought that he was lying. But in real life, not only is Chicago MAGA country, but Black America has become MAGA country. So much so, friends, that Barack Obama came out and said, niggas get back in line. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Jesus. They went and resurrected Barack Obama to get the Negroes back in line because the city of Chicago has the entire ethnicity, the entire tribe. Everybody right now is in a state of rebellion. And when I say that we're in a state of rebellion, I mean that we are not listening to the Democrats anymore. And so what they're doing is they're actually trying to shame us back into getting into the whatever party they're trying to push us back into. However, it's not working. We've actually moved on. I'm very happy and proud of Black America and the fact that we have good sense enough to get away from these people. I also want to give a shout out to everybody who has been very active in this movement. A lot of people thought that we were not going to be able to be successful. They said that you guys are just wasting your time, blah, 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 blah. And Rasmussen, that is a polling group, they said that currently African Americans in the New York area are supporting President Trump at 40%. 40%, you guys. Do you know how much that is? That's a lot. But before we get to all of that, first things first, we're going to get our dose of self esteem from the greatest president to ever. Uh-oh, not yet, my Donnie. Not yet, not yet. Okay, we're going to get a dose of self-esteem from the greatest president to ever do it, and that is Mr. Donald John Trump Sr., obviously the 47th president. Roll tape.
This nation. You built this nation. You know, you're just starting to get real credit for that. Okay, I don't know if you know that. You're just starting to you built the nation. We all built it, but you were such a massive part of it. Bigger than you were given credit for. Does that make sense? Right? But through generations of blood, sweat, and tears, and you deserve a government that defends your interests, protects your families, and cares for our own citizens first. My administration is fighting with everyone and all our heart to reverse the pain inflicted by Democrat leaders and to deliver hope and opportunity and prosperity for all Americans, but for African American communities all throughout our land. Our agenda is lifting up citizens of every background, race, religion, color, and creed. But while we are fighting every day to build up our nation, the far left only wants to wreck, ruin, and destroy our nation.
All right, all right, all right. Again, that was Mr. Donald John Trump Sr., the 47th president. Get to it, y'all. Get with the program because that is what's going to happen. Moving on. Next Sunday, October 20th, we are having a Trump rally. Or no, we're not calling it a Trump rally. We are having live from MAGA Country USA, Agenda 47 at the Regal. Again, live from MAGA Country USA, Agenda 47 from the Regal. We are hosting a MAGA rally at the Regal Theater down by 79th and Stony Island next Sunday from 2 to 5:30 p.m. Before that, there is going to be a MAGA car parade that's going to start downtown at the Arboretum. They're going to go through the Wacker Drive area, all throughout the loop, and then the parade is going to come straight south down Lakeshore or DuSable Lakeshore Drive, and we're going to all meet at the Regal. This is going to be a wonderful event. Shout out to Mr. Gerald Gary for giving us access to this land, because again, if we were not going to be in the parking lot of the theater, we would not be able to have a MAGA or a Agenda 47 at the Regal event, because we know that the city of Chicago would never have granted us permits. I also want to give a shout out to all of the communities that have signed up for this event. That's the Chinese community, that's the Mexican community, that is the Polish community, that is the Indian community. We're going to have speakers from all of those communities, as well as Black Chicago and the members of Chicago Red. The purpose of this rally is to get everybody on board for what is about to happen, and the city is about to turn red. I told y'all that the city was going to turn red. People be red, that's never going to happen. We a blue city, and look at us as red as we want to be. So again, next Sunday from 2 to 5 p.m. 2 to 5:30 p.m. at the Regal on 79th and Stony. We will be in the parking lot with our MAGA flags, our American flags, and all this good stuff. We will be on private property. So to everybody who wants to send a goon, please keep your goons at home. Nobody's scared of y'all, okay? Nobody is afraid. We know that we are Americans in the United States of America. We will not allow people to bully us. We will not allow people to tell us what to do. We will not allow people to intimidate us. And ain't nobody coming out south to fight y'all. If you don't like what we're about to do, stay in the house. Go find something else to do. But please do not come over here and bother me and my people, because I promise you we are not going to stop, okay? The city is going red. The country is going red. We know that we definitely deserve better than what we currently have, and we are actively going to go get it. Moving on. I also want to give a shout out to everyone in Black Chicago who is currently participating in this JJ Fish boycott. Do not eat any more JJ Fish, okay? Go to the Black Do Well Fish Market over there on 5th and Pulaski. Buy your own catfish and fry it up yourself, because we are boycotting JJ's all across the city. Earlier this week, there was a Arab man who literally came and murdered 2 Black people in cold blood. The video was horrible. I wish that I never saw it. Now, a lot of people are saying, P. Ray, why are you guys going to boycott the JJ? Because of the actions of one employee. Well, friends, not only did this employee kill these 2 Black people in cold blood, but the owner of this particular restaurant opened it the next day as if nothing happened. And he went to court with his employee who murdered these people in cold blood, and he felt that the murderer was justified. And if they cannot respect us, we cannot respect them with our money. Therefore, do not go in any more JJ's. Please do not eat any more JJ's fish. We know a lot of Black people are employed by those things, and hopefully they will. Of course, it's the United States. They're going to find other jobs. But in the meantime, in between time, do not eat any JJ's. No catfish steaks, no perch steaks, no buffalo, no none of that. Please do not go in there. Please stick together. We must show people that you cannot play with Black Chicago or our money or our lives. These people literally just open the restaurant back up like nothing happened. So therefore, we're not going to eat their food anymore. Moving on. Y'all know they tried to off my Donnie again. They tried to off my Donnie again. They found a man yesterday in California. He had a he meaning my Donnie, he had a rally at Coachella, and it was President Trump takes Coachella, and it was absolutely amazing. Well, they said that they stopped a man who had a fake press pass to a Trump rally, a loaded shotgun, a handgun, and a high capacity magazine. He said that the man, when they got him, they said that the guy said that he is a part of a right wing anti government organization and that he was plotting to kill President Trump. He actually said that he came to kill the president. He was booked for having a high capacity firearm and a high capacity magazine, and he was released released after posting a $5,000 bail. I don't know what's going on in California. I don't know how you can bring weapons to kill a former U.S. president, current U.S. presidential candidate, and then get out of jail for $5,000. But once again, they tried and they failed to hit my Donnie, and it didn't work because he is what? The Teflon Don. Moving on, let's talk about Barack Obama. Lord have mercy. So, Barack Obama decided that after looking at the polls and watching social media and looking at, the voting patterns, black men are pretty much saying that they're not going to vote for Kamala. Okay. Black men are saying that they're not going to vote for Kamala because one, she's a woman, and we know that men don't like women telling them what to do, whether they sleep in our beds or, are out here on the street. They don't like female leadership, which is why P. Ray goes into all of these issues in the city of Chicago, because they're like, they just want to elevate the black woman above the black man, and we not going for that. So they're definitely not going to take a president. Number one. Number two, they don't like her because of the fact that she was a prosecutor in California who locked up black men and kept them in jail past their release date so that they can continue to give the state of California free labor. And they don't like her for the fact that she laughed about this. Okay. So black men are definitely not going to vote for her. However, the Democratic Party depends on black people to vote for them in order for them to maintain their winning margins. And if black men are not supporting her, then black women aren't supporting her, like P. Ray and all of us. And so they are kind of afraid of what's going to happen. So first things first, I want to play for you a conversation that Barack Obama had. It looks like in a private space in Pennsylvania. He's talking to a room of young black men, and I want y'all to listen to what he said to them. Roll tape.
Is that we have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all right and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences. Who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land.
So what Barack Obama said, I don't know if you could hear it. He said that he understands that there's a problem with the brothers. Okay. So the brothers means Negro men. Okay. He never went to talk to white men who overall are not voting for her. He did not go and talk to the Asian men who overall are not voting for her, but he came to talk to the brothers. He said that they're not voting for someone who grew up with them, lived with them, went to school with them, and knows what it's like to be them. The average Negro man did not have two parents with PhDs. The average Negro man did not grow up in French Canada with a mother who was a college professor. The average Negro did not spend their summers abroad going to Jamaica and Zambia, because that's where her grandfather lived when she was a child. So she was going on all of these intercontinental trips. The average Negro man was not doing any of that. The average Negro man does not have anything in common with Barack Obama or Kamala Harris. However, they thought that they were going to replay or redo the whole Barack Obama thing, and then black folks were going to fall back in line. Now, we can't forget that Kamala said these words right here. Roll tape.
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Let's hear what she said
I'm
again.
not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
So she already said she's not doing anything to only benefit black people, but they sent Barack Obama over to tell black folks to get back in line. Friends, this has pissed off black people in a way that I have not seen black people mad at the Democratic Party in a very long time. Here I am thinking that it was, the actions of the progressives and the illegals and the open borders and the criminality and the disease and the Bidenomics and the raise prices and all that kind of stuff that was actually going to push black people into MAGA land. But lo and behold, it was Barack Obama. I told y'all, the more and more these people talk, the worse it gets. They thought that they were going to run that trick on us 2 times, and black folks said, absolutely not. Stop playing with us, Barack Obama. And so now they don't know what to do, because again, black people are not going along with it, and the fact that they sent Barack Obama to try to chastise grown men in a tribe that he himself does not belong to. He's a Kenyan Irishman. So who is he to come to Negro men and tell Negro men how they need to exercise their politics as if they're the same, and they're not. They've never been the same, and this is why, friends, P. Ray pushes for delineation. Delineation means that we are getting away from race. We have to get back into ethnicity, because when we are in our racial bag, it allows anybody that has any percentage of African blood in their body to pretend as if we are the same, as if we're dealing with the same issues, as if we have the same social status, as if we have anything the same, and we absolutely do not. Okay, we want Negro leaders to speak on behalf of Negro people, or we just want leaders to speak on behalf of Negro people, but we definitely do not want anything for black folks. I'm done being black. Okay, y'all, I'm done. I am an American Negro. That's what P. Ray is. Some people call themselves ADOS, which is American descendant of slavery. I have an issue with that, because white people who were sentenced to indefinite indenturehood after they came from Europe as indentured servants, those people were slaves as well. So when people say, oh, well, the Irish were slaves, well, they're telling the truth. They were. So if we say Americans descendants from slaves, then that could possibly include the descendants of people who were sentenced to indefinite indenturehood, and they were to get reparations, and P. Ray is for none of that. We also have the Foundational Black Americans, which I think is cool, but FBA is not listed in any legal documents. It's not recognized by the OMB, which is the group, the federal group that names people. It's a made up social media term. I'm only going by the term that's on my parents' Cook County birth certificate, and that, friends, says Negro. Negro people first. Kamala is a non-Negro. Barack Obama is a non-Negro. I'm trying to think who else is a non-Negro who's running their mouth. Joy Reid is a non-Negro. Let's see. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. Those are the 3 people I can think of who are definitely non-Negroes, who are speaking very loudly on our behalf, and they must be stopped. Byron Donalds is a non-Negro. So even him, when he's talking about his reparations thing, I'm like, whoa, Byron, you are not even getting a check. Keep your mouth out of our business. I digress. I say all that to say that black folks are done with the Democratic Party. Black men, thank you for stepping up to do what you needed to do in order to get our people away from this culture of chaos and perversion that we never wanted for our children. And I want to thank everybody else for stepping up to do what they have to do. Moving on. Let's talk about some local news really quickly. So we know that last week the entire school board quit, and we know that our mayor was the cause of it. So first thing that we're going to do is, because Mayor Johnson likes to talk about the fact that he was a teacher in the Chicago Public Schools, I want to play for you a snippet of an interview that he did a couple years ago, and he's going to tell you himself about the quality of teaching that he gave to his students at the Chicago Public Schools. Roll tape.
To be quite frank with you, I didn't issue a lot of homework for students. That was my own way of sort of rebelling against the structure. I don't think I ever gave a kid an F. I don't know how a student sits in front of you and fails. I know some professors may find that, this is slightly troubling.
So he wasn't following a curriculum. He wasn't holding the children accountable. He looked at his methods as a way of rebelling against the system that was paying him to dictate a very particular curriculum. So if he's the leader, one of the leaders of CTU, then we can ascertain that CTU was doing something similar. So he gets in office and then he decides that he's going to govern for the CTU as the chief executive officer of the city of Chicago. He then asks CTU to take out a short term high interest loan that's going to be double by the time we pay the interest, and the Chicago School Board said no. They meaning the school board, they began to be harassed and cajoled by the Johnson administration, and they decided that they were going to just quit rather than continue to let him bully them. So the first thing I'm going to play for you all is a snippet of Brandon from this press conference. Wait, hold on. Let me put this on mute. Sorry. All right. Um, this is the first thing I'm going to play for you guys is a snippet from the actual press conference. So the press conference was at Sweet Holy Spirit on 86th in South Chicago. I got this text message that was like, come out here. We're going to go to the press conference and we're going to go and we're going to protest. And I'm like, oh, this should be interesting to watch. So I go out there after I drove to the South Side to take my daughter to school. Now, what's pushing me to do this, and the reason I was even on the South Side of Chicago, is because the city of Chicago reneged on my daughter's school bus. And every time I have to drive to Hyde Park from the Austin community to take my baby to a school that provided transportation when I signed her up to go to it, and then they reneged it, that only gives me fuel to keep going. Okay. I do not have any respect for these people, none whatsoever, because what makes this so egregious to me and what makes me so angry about it, friends, is that the program, she's in the academic center. So the academic centers are programs for academically advanced children to start taking high school courses in 7th and 8th grade while attending a Chicago public high school as a 7th and 8th grader. Once you get in this academic center, there's no mechanism to transfer. So you have to stay in this program for 2 years in order to, get the full experience out of it. So we're stuck in a situation that we did not sign up for 2 years. Now I'm still driving out south. I digress. So when we got there, there was a group of protesters that came in. And when they started, when Brandon came up to the stage, they began to protest him. Roll tape.
Our collaborative work also improves special education services. I will just say, as I finish my comments, the most legitimate existence of anyone in this country is the legitimate existence of a black man. Now, I understand that there are individuals that wish to use this as a political opportunity to sow seeds of doubt. But make no mistake about it, I am going to stand firm and flat-foot to ensure that our students get what they deserve.
So that was them protesting him. Now, the person behind him doing all that yesing and amening was Gator Bradley. And anytime I see Gator Bradley on any stage, anything political, I'm like, nothing about this is legitimate. Nothing. I think like out of all of the political influencers, grifters, operatives, or whatever you're calling them, that's the one that P. Ray just the most. I'm like, what is he doing on the stage? What qualifies him to stand on the stage with these people? I digress. But that was the one that was up there doing all that amen and that and all this good stuff. Brandon was up there to introduce his new school board people. And then he got booed by them. So then once he got booed by them, they had security put them out. So then now I'm sitting there by myself. So then Brandon's talking. I'm like, what about the buses, Brandon? What about the buses, Brandon? What about the buses, Brandon? So then eventually he mentions the buses as I'm talking. So then the security comes over and he taps me and he's like, hey, P. Ray. P. Ray, they sent me to put you out, but you my girl. I like you a lot, so you gotta stop because I know what you here to do. I'm like, look, I don't even come out south. He said, I know everybody know P. Ray don't come south of Cermak. I said, and look at P. Ray sitting over here on 86th Street. You want to know why P. Ray out south? Because I had to take my baby to school. You want to know why I had to take my baby to school? Because this mayor took her school bus. So if he don't want me to come to his events out south, he just needs to give me a bus route and schedule. That's it. And I promise you, I'll be out of his hair. He's like, it's okay, girl. Just be easy. You my girl. I'm like, thank you, sir. So shout out to all the fans of P. Ray in the city of Chicago, because y'all definitely show the girl love. Now, I digress. With that being said, Brandon tried to make his whole press conference about being black and racism and slavery and all kind of stuff. But I want you guys to listen to this portion. This portion was a little bit outrageous. And it was outrageous because he tried to tie our trauma from slavery to the foolishness that he's pulling in the stunt with CTU. Roll tape.
Our people in this city are tired of political leaders that want the status quo to nibble around the edges, and then when children don't get what they deserve, they blame the very communities that they've disinvested in. Not on my watch. Status quo, past mistakes that have left our students behind, we're not doing that. And then the so-called exports, the so-called fiscally responsible stewards are making the same argument when our people wanted to be liberated and emancipated in this country. The argument was, you can't free black people because it would be too expensive. They said that it would be fiscally irresponsible for this country to liberate black people. And now you have detractors making the same argument of the Confederacy when it comes to public education in this system.
You heard that. Let's listen to that again, because that was absolute foolishness. Number one, the Confederacy is the party of the Democratic Party. I mean, the Confederacy is the movement of the Democratic Party, which is the party that he represents. Number two, what the hell does that got to do with anything, Brandon? What does it have to do when you talk about all of this investment into the students and what we need to do? And what are you doing and what are you talking about, sir? It does not make any sense. But we're going to listen to that one more time and then we're going to move on, because I found this outrageous. You will never, ever, ever hear any Jewish people compare anything to the Holocaust, because they understand that trauma should be taken seriously. But we have the chief executive officer of the city of Chicago playing with slavery in order to get a payout for his friends at the CTU. How disrespectful can you get? Let's listen to that again. Roll tape.
Our people in this city are tired of political leaders that want the status quo to nibble around the edges, and then when children don't get what they deserve, they blame the very communities that they've disinvested in. Not on my watch. Status quo, past mistakes that have left our students behind, we're not doing that. And then the so-called export.
Wait a minute. The only people that left the students behind were teachers like him who failed to properly challenge the children, who failed to properly give them high standards to meet. These type of teachers are the ones who measure growth instead of proficiency. So they say if the child came into the classroom and knew 2 words, and by the end of the year they knew 3 words, then that child has accomplished growth, and therefore they should be passed on, when the child really should have known 10 words to be proficient. You see these games that they play, but teachers like him are why these students are being left behind, not because they're not being properly funded. Let's listen to this one more time. Let's keep going. Roll tape.
The so-called fiscally responsible stewards are making the same argument when our people wanted to be liberated and emancipated in this country. The argument was, you can't free black people because it would be too expensive. They said that it would be fiscally irresponsible for this country to liberate black people. And now you have detractors making the same argument of the Confederacy when it comes to public education in this system.
That's ridiculous. I think that's by far the most egregious, insulting, low down, trifling thing that I've ever heard a politician say when it comes to speaking to the trauma of our ancestors. Who put this man in play? Who and why? I digress because we almost finished with him. 773-345-9977. We're going to take a call and then we're going to get to our guest, who is Miss Kay Jones, who was running for school board in District 5. She is a CPS teacher and she's going to talk to us about her candidacy and why we need to get her. But first things first, let's take a call. Welcome to Black Excellence Hour.
Hi, T-Ray. This is Dennis.
Hey, Dennis.
Let's go, Brandon.
Let's go, Brandon.
No, we can't say that. We can't say that no more. He's not running. Okay, so we'll figure something out.
Let's say recall Brandon.
Yeah, recall Brandon.
Recall Brandon.
Recall Brandon. Recall Brandon. That's even better right there. You know something? It's amazing that a whipping boy like Brandon Johnson is pleasing people up there, and not only is trying to please Springfield, which is Pritzker. Also, he pleasing Brandon Joe Biden. So I look at it like this here: when he made that statement, it costs too much for freeing Negroes or Black people. Maybe he putting a price on us to keep us included in the plantation that he likes to run. That's one thing. But you know something else? I don't have no respect for Obama. And the reason why you cannot tell a Black man who to vote for, and so while you over here passing bill rights to LGBTQ, and that's how Magic Johnson's 6'9" son/daughter got do whatever he wanted to do. So that's another thing right there. I cannot respect a man who gives more rights to a half a man.
That's a good point.
That's one thing.
Oh, I like that. He wouldn't go talk to a half a man like that. Why he come to talk to Black men like that? That's a good point.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then Magic Johnson got the nerve to tell us who to vote for. And so here's the thing. He's living a lavish lifestyle. So is Obama. Obama lived in
Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, he's living in Martha's Vineyard. When the last time Obama ever came to any school in the city of Chicago, talked to these Black youth, or talk to anybody about stop the killing towards each other?
You know, he came. He came. I think last year we were doing something, and then he popped up, and I'm like, y'all, Barack Obama here. He came like around Christmas time. I actually thought, have you ever seen that meme where they have Barack Obama on the Ring camera, and they're like, what would you do if this is your porch and Barack Obama pulled up? I promise to God, I thought he was about to come over my house and knock on my window. But yeah, he comes, when he's doing these little political things. But to your point, he's never come and talk about the issues here, though. That's the thing. And whenever he talks about Black men, it's never in a positive way. Remember, he's the one who said that Black men were out of control because they came from fatherless, chaotic homes. And then he comes back and says, you stupid Negroes, don't you know who you supposed to be voting for? And y'all out here playing these games. Get behind this woman because I told y'all to. It's like the white people sent Barack Obama to recollect their property or something. It was weird.
So let me see if I got this correct here. For somebody who talks about fatherless, and where was his daddy at?
That's what everybody say. Somebody on Twitter said that it's true. Where was his daddy at? Why are you talking about other people's fathers?
And so the problem is he's not white enough to be accepted, and he's not Black enough to be accepted by white people, but he's not. You see what I'm getting at with this point?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. So you can't, because you got a little vanilla swirl in you in the chocolate, doesn't mean it don't taste good. It's just gonna lead into diabetes.
That's a good point, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis.
Have a nice evening.
You too. 773-345-9977. I want to give a couple shout outs too. First things first, I want to give a shout out to my Turn Chicago Red crew with Miss Jessica Jackson, who is actually in the comments on the YouTube page. Shout out to Jessica Jackson, who is like the breakout superstar of the movement. She does not even do social media, and people hit me up every single day. When I say every day I get messages online like, P-Ray, how can we find Jessica Jackson? Where is she at? I want to talk to her. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, Miss Jessica is for us. Miss Jessica does not do social media. You got to catch her when you catch us, okay? Because she is not for everybody. Shout out to Miss Jessica Jackson and everybody else in Turn Chicago Red. That would be, we have this picture that's actually going viral on social media. So I'm going to tell you guys who is in the picture with me. We have on these, or they have on Turn Chicago Red shirts. I actually have on my President Trump Vice President P-Ray shirt. But shout out to Miss Jessica, to Miss Patrice, to Miss Zoe, to Miss Brandy, to Miss Danielle, to Miss Alicia, to Miss Lisa, to Miss Denise. And I don't know the names of the other two women in the picture, but there were 11 of us. We went to City Hall. We wore these shirts. We said 1, 2, 3, Trump 2024, and they could actually hear us inside the chamber. So shout out to everybody. I think by now everybody knows, trusts, and understands that Chicago, not just Black Chicago, but the city of Chicago is going red. I also want to give a shout out to the good people, the Broncos out south. Last night was homecoming, and I went to homecoming with my big girl because she's in 8th grade. I had to drop her off, and I was there talking to some parents, and there was this cadre of these white moms. And so I walk up to them, I greet them because, I'm out here and I know the moms. And so one mom pulled her to the side, and she's like, "That's P-Ray. And you know what she does. She has her little red movement that she's doing here in Chicago." Now, my child has kicked it at this lady's house, so I don't even know why she's like trying to whisper and keep this energy between us. I digress. Anyway, the mama that she was talking to said, "Yes, I do know P-Ray. I love P-Ray. We love her because she's been working very diligently with us about the bus issue." And she's like, "Oh, really?" And she's like, "Yeah, really." She's like really working hard and going hard for this. So anyway, that mom pulls me away from the group. We go upstairs, and she says to me, "Yo, P-Ray, I just want to let you know that, it's going to be hard for me or my husband, but we're voting for Trump too. Now, we're not Chicago red. We're more like Chicago purple, but it's very hard for us to operate a business in the city of Chicago with these taxes and this criminality. So I think that we're going to be joining you too on this journey." So it's not just Black folks doing this, it's white liberals on the north side who are also coming to Chicago red. They're calling themselves Chicago purple, and they have signs that say Democrats for Trump. I digress. Moving on. Let's take one more caller really quickly before we get to our guest, because I don't want this person to be in queue. Let's take this call. Welcome to Black Excellence Hour.
Hey, P-Ray, it's Jessica.
Hey.
Just calling. Number one, hey, first of all, shout out to you, girl. Shout out to you. Now, number two, I know your guest is coming up, but I just wanted to say this about Obama real fast.
Yes, ma'am.
Remember, he came to the DNC, okay, and talking about what's up, Chicago. What's up is your Obama senders displacing people over there by Stony Island. That's what's up. And the fact that he doesn't even give any acknowledgement to that issue. He hasn't even addressed the fact that people are getting displaced over there behind that Obama Center being put up over there. I just think that's real cold-blooded. I think it's in poor taste. I think it's unfair to the people who live over here in this community that are being affected like that. So for him to come and scold Black people or Black men like that, but not even take 5 minutes on his way back to Martha's Vineyard when he was here to come by that Obama Center, that community, and address the people that are over there that voted him into office.
I totally agree. And that's why we ain't studying him, Miss Jessica. Ain't nobody
That's why we ain't studying him. So I just wanted to tell you that. So go ahead, bring your guest on so we can enjoy her. But I wanted to throw that out there because that was cold-blooded.
It was.
How people, it was cold-blooded because look at people who getting displaced from over there.
I see him. And like I said, and for what? Why would we continue to support him? Miss Jessica, maybe we'll have you on next week. What you think about that?
Let me know. You know I'm there. We got to get Trump in the White House. Trump 2024.
Go red.
Go red. Go red.
Go red.
Let me know. Let me know. Give me the information details, and I support you any way I can because we got a common goal, and that is to get Donald Trump in the White House for 2024.
Yes, ma'am. See you in a little while.
Okay, perfect.
Bye-bye. 773-345-9977. Let's get to our guest. This woman, ma'am, Miss Jones.
Hello.
Yes, Miss Jones. All right. On my live line, I have Miss K. Jones. Miss K. Jones is a friend of P. Ray. We met through the Good Neighbors campaign on the west side of Chicago. Miss Jones is a special ed or a former special ed teacher in the Chicago Public Schools who and curriculum for over 20 years. She is a candidate for District 5 for the Chicago School Board, and her platform is very unique because she's specifically focusing on the sexualization of the curriculum of the children. And when she shared this with me, I asked her, please, Ms. Jones, come on my show. So, Ms. Jones, welcome to Black Excellence Hour.
Well, thank you for having me as a guest. And I was even listening to what you were saying about the mayor. Well, I'm going to tell you from the inside, me working as in charter school, contract school, subbing for about 5 years, CPS out in the southern suburbs, Oak Park school system, CPS, and in private schools. I have found out that this system, whoever's over it, UNESCO, the one started in 1945, Hitler died, but the United Nations was created, Hitler reincarnated. They started the school system. Guess what? Those people, I believe, removed phonics from the school system because it never was put in place to educate us in the first place. It was to create workers, not entrepreneurs, especially for the Black African American race, especially the Black male seed. So how are you going to remove phonics from the curriculum? All teachers were scratching our heads. Why? Why are you going to take away memorization of spelling words? Writing spelling words 10 times. We don't want that. How are you going to take away cursive? Come on, devil. Come on. How cray are we? Now you have children who cannot write cursive, can't sign their signature, can't read cursive. So it's not that they have teachers. They do have some bad teachers out there, but it's not that you have bad teachers who are not teaching. They took away, stripped the curriculum. Then they give you comprehensive Common Core curriculum. This Common Core curriculum was only the introduction to Marxism, socialism, and the Comprehensive Sex Act. See, I'm telling you what's going on from the inside, and when you look at it, if you don't know the foundation of it, you don't know this thing been rigged from the get-go, baby. It will never work for us. What we're gonna have to do, I'm running for the school board, but if they don't remove the porn. Listen, this same school system fired 14,000 plus Black teachers and are firing them as we are here now on the phone. Their whole agenda is to remove the foundation, move the ones who can protect and shield the children, remove them so that they can do what Hitler did. Hitler used the children. He groomed them. He prepped them. He trained them for his army. After he trained them, guess who he enlisted in his army? The children he trained. Guess who voted for him? The ones he brainwashed and went into their innocent heads and brainwashed. Now we're seeing the same thing reincarnated in our school systems. So I had to, as a teacher, I had to go in my classroom when they started comprehensive Common Core curriculum. See, you all don't know anything about this mess. And I had to go and sneak in the locker, open up the locker where they put all the books, and say, I pulled the books out and I snuck. I had to close my door and sneak teach my students, because the system that's coming from the top, really the bottom from hell, is telling us, the teachers in the different districts, in the different states, take away this, take away that, because they have an agenda. They have a certain society they want to use, and they're using our children to develop and create that system that they want.
Was there any pushback from the teachers?
Beg your pardon?
Was there any pushback from the teachers as this was occurring?
Here's the pushback you got. You see how I push back. I push back going in, but you push back, you have no job. Let me tell you something. The same pushback you get from the teachers, the police department, the fire workers, the city workers, everybody who's on payroll, when they say you do this or you won't get paid and you won't have a job, guess what happened with COVID pandemic? When they said everybody take these injections of this rat poison that they've never tested or you don't have a job, guess what all the teachers did? Guess what all the firefighters, guess what all of the police workers did? For the sakes of paying their mortgage, paying for their kids to go to school, paying their car note, to pay for their food, they went and took the injection. Now they're saying, we found out that it's got toxic chemicals in it. Really? The same thing with the Common Core curriculum. They kept it in there. The comprehensive porn. Teachers are pushing back. Nobody wants that. But this is the curriculum. They said you must do this. Same with Hitler. Get on the trains. We're taking you to a camp, and they fried them to death. They cooked them. It's the same today.
Miss K, tell us really quickly about the porn, because I've heard you mention that twice.
The Comprehensive Sex Act, the parental rights by the Democratic Party. Our people that you all voted for. I've been independent for decades. Those people who look like you with the melanin, the man with the tan, these people who you all have come into your churches on your holy pulpit, have supported Comprehensive Sex Act. This has stripped the parents of all parental rights. You know, Las Vegas, what goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. When the children come to school, they're telling the children early as preschool, you do not have to tell your parents anything. You have full rights to this. This one, your parents will never know. By law, we don't have to tell them. You can be whatever you want to be. You could be, or you don't have to be anything at all. You could be a boy, a girl, or nothing. They said there's almost 300 genders now. Approximately 300 now, that your kids are coming on saying, I'm binary, I'm all this stuff, and parents are looking like, what? What? The school is grooming the children. The school is indoctrinating the children. The school is brainwashing the children. The school is prepping the children. Now, they done took out cursive, their phonics, hired over 14,000 plus teachers, took out math, out reading, took out all career trainings. But yet, they pushing this Comprehensive Sex Act, which is telling the child, not only that, but we can take you to have surgery. We can have your penis, your breast, your vagina removed. We can have the bands that goes around your chest to hold your breast in. Free. We can show you how to go to the sites and use kink toys. I didn't know what KINK was. I Googled it. These are whips, chains, harnesses, booty poppers. These are the straps. The sadomasochists beating folks. They have books now showing them how to masturbate, how to have anal or rectal sex, showing them these positions, sending them to sites where they can see this. All our porn, if it was anybody else, they would be executed. But this is a whole curriculum, not just in America. This is global. But they're doing it now. And if They will remove the child, and I have literature if you need it, I will give it to you. They will remove the child and persecute the parent and take the child from the parent. Now, Sean Ford, he pushed the parental bullying bill that says in so many words that if you force a child to do something they don't want to do, you could be fined up to the age when the child is 18 years old.
LaShawn.
Now listen to me. Listen, you think, and listen, and now my child and my students, they don't want to go and get in line in that book. Some of them, they don't want to wash dishes. They don't want to come in at a certain time. But if you're telling me the government, the one world order, okay, that's what it is. It's telling me we own your children now. People who can't even have children made laws to tell my children they don't have to obey me. Now, this is what, listen, now check this out. Let me show you how it works. It didn't just happen. It's a strategic plan because he's crafty.
Miss K.
They gave the children a link card. One of the teachers said some of them got $700 or more on it with only their name on it. So the government began to groom the children. Here's the vision in the household. It's by design, baby.
Miss K, we gotta I'm getting the wrap up because we approaching 8:00. Tell us how we can vote for you. Because I think everybody knows that you are the woman that we want to send. How do we vote for you?
I'm in the 5th district. I am a write-in candidate. My name is Kernitha Jones, and let me break it down to you. Like Kermit the Frog, hit your knee, Kernitha, me and Mrs. Jones, and I'm not that one.
Kernitha Jones, so Kernetha, Kernitha.
Jones. Jones.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to write that in the comment section so that people can know to write your name. You are my lady, and I thoroughly appreciate you coming on Black Excellence Hour today with us.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
At any time, I will continue sharing information on what's really going on. It's not that a lot of these teachers, some of them is crap, but the system is crap. They don't want the teachers are sitting back like, wait. Listen, they removed the black teachers so that they could and put them with teachers who really don't have a heart for the children. So they're there for the paycheck right now.
Thank you.
Whatever we got to do, groom them, whatever. Hell, they ain't my kids.
Thank you, Miss Jones. We're gonna have you come back to us next week to talk to us a little bit more when we get Miss Jackson. It's gonna be a great show. You're welcome. I love you. See you in a little bit.
Amen.
Amen. That's my lady, y'all. I'm telling y'all, P-Ray got real West Side friends. With that being said, the music is playing and we are at the end of the show. Thank you so much for watching today and listening here on Black Excellence Hour. Know that you do not have to let Barack Obama, the Democratic Party, Brandon Johnson, or anybody else play with you and tell you how you need to vote. Remember, Black folks, we are free. Our people have been paying taxes and eating cornbread in this country for a very long time. We do not need to explain our politics to anybody. Know that we are going to save ourselves in the middle of this invasion, in the middle of this chaos, in the middle of this perversion. We are dumping the blues because they have given us the blues, and we are going Chicago red, baby. And if you ain't Chicago red, you can be purple too. This is P-Ray of Black Excellence Hour, a show for people with high self-esteem. Be sure to pull up on us at the Regal next week at 2:30 because a mega good time is about to be had. Agenda 47 at the Regal next Sunday. Mwah.